Hello everyone, I welcome you all for the video lecture on Indian Constitution. Let us discuss the topic making of Indian Constitution. These are the contents that we will discuss for today. First of all, what is Constitution? Almost everything we do is governed by some set of rules. There are also rules imposed by morality and custom that play an important role in telling us what we should do and not do. Some rules that are made by the legislatures for their own country are called law. We need laws in society so our society can regulate and work properly. They are designed to protect us and our property and to ensure that everyone in society behaves the way that the community expects them to. Laws tell us what to expect as a consequence of our actions. Laws have been the glue that has kept society together. Without laws, there would be complete anarchy. In general, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. All other laws have to conform to the Constitution. The Constitution contains laws concerning the government and its relations with the people. A constitution is concerned with two main aspects: the relation between the different levels of government and between the government and the citizens. Role of the constitution and relationship between government and its people. The constitution has two categories: government, the people. Legislative, judiciary, and executive are the three main divisions of government. Legislative is for making laws, judiciary it interprets laws, and executive it enforces laws. Technically, we can define constitution as a set of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a state or other organization is governed. These rules together make up, that is, constitute that what we is an entity. When these principles are written down into a single collection or set of legal documents, those documents may be said to comprise a written constitution. The constitution is an important instrument for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government. Why do we need constitution? We need a constitution to govern a country properly. The constitution defines the nature of political system of a country. Sometimes we feel strongly about an issue that might go against our larger interests, and the Constitution helps us guard against this. All the three organs of government, executive, legislative, and judiciary, functions with the Constitution. All the three organs of government, including ordinary citizens, derive their power and authority from the Constitution. If they act against it, it is unconstitutional or unlawful. The people don't know their true power. To perform following functions, we need constitution. A constitution is to provide a set of basic rules that allow for minimal coordination amongst members of a society. A constitution is to specify who has the power to make decisions in the society. It decides how the government will be constituted. A constitution is to set some limits on a government can impose on its citizens. These limits are fundamental in the sense that government may ever trespass them. A constitution is to enable the government to fulfill the separations of a society and create conditions for a just society. The history of Constitution of India. In the light of these objectives, the Assembly completed its task by November 26, 1949. The Constitution was enforced with effect from January 26, 1950. From that day, India became Republic of India. The Constitution Assembly of India was elected to write a Constitution of India. Following India's independence from Great Britain, its members served as the nation's first parliament. This body was formed in 1946 for the purpose of making independent India's constitution. The Assembly passed a resolution in 1947, January, defining the objectives of the constitution to set up a Union of India comprising British India and the princely states, to set up a federal form of government with separate state and central governments, to set up a democracy in which all power is derived from the people, where all people are guaranteed justice, equality, and freedom, where minorities, depressed classes, and the tribals' rights are protected. To protect the integrity of India and her sovereign rights over land, sea, and air. Dr. Sachinananda Sinha was the first president of the Constituent Assembly when it met on December 9, 1946. Later, Dr. Rajendra Prasad became the president of the Constituent Assembly, and Dr. Bhima Rao Ambedkar became the chairman of its drafting committee on December 11, 1946. The Constituent Assembly consisted of 385 members, of which 292 were elected by the elected members of the provincial legislative assemblies, while 93 members were nominated by the princely states. To these were to be added a representative each from the four chief commissioners provinces of Delhi, Ajmer, Maba, Coorg, and British Balochistan. The framing of Indian constitution borrowed features of Constitution of India, were from UK, USA, Australia, Russia, Germany, Japan, Canada, and South Africa. Nominal head president, cabinet system of ministers, post of prime minister, parliamentary type of government, bicameral parliament, lower house more powerful, council of ministers responsible to lower house, provision of speaker in Lok Sabha were borrowed from the UK. Bicameral parliament is something that we follow, uh, which is consisting of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. That's why it is called bicameral parliament. From USA, we have borrowed the features like a written constitution, appointment of vice president, fundamental rights, Supreme Court, head of the state known as president, provision of states, judicial review. From Australia, we have borrowed the constitution features like a concurrent list, center state relationship, language of the preamble. From USSR, we have fundamental duties, 5-year plan, emergency preventions at the time of emergency and critical situations that we have adopted from Germany. Law on which the Supreme Court functions were um, from the Japan, federal system and residuary powers from Canada, and procedure of constitutional amendment from South Africa. For the time being, till the constitution was made, India would be governed in accordance with the Government of India Act 1935. The Assembly met in sessions open to the public for 166 days, spread over a period of 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days before adopting the constitution. It was finally passed and accepted on November 26, 1949. In all, the 284 members of the Assembly signed the official copies of the Indian Constitution. After many deliberations and some modifications over 111 plenary sessions in 114 days, the 308 members of the Assembly signed two copies of the document on Hindi and English language on 24th January 1950. Same day, the Assembly unanimously elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the President of India, with some into effect on January 26, 1950. The preamble to the Constitution of India is a brief introductory statement that sets out the guiding purpose and principles of the document. The first words of the preamble, "We, the people," signifies the power is ultimately vested in the hands of the people of India. So far, the preamble has been amended only once in 1976 by 42nd Amendment, which inserted the words socialism, secularism, and integrity. A brief description of these concepts are as follows. Sovereign means free to follow internal and external policies. Secular means no particular religion is preferred. Socialist means no concentration of power and money. Democratic means rule by elected representative of the people of India. We will change the constitutional work, and that is called amendment. The preamble page, along with other pages of the first and original book of Constitution of India, was designed and decorated solely by renowned painter Bar Shaka. The preamble of our Constitution serves two purposes. It indicates the source from which the Constitution derives its authority. It also states that objects which the Constitution seeks to establish and promote. The preamble seeks to establish what Mahatma Gandhi described as the India of my dreams, an India in which the poorest shall feel that it is their country in whose making they have an effective voice, an India in which all communities shall live a perfect harmony. There are no room in such an India for the curse of unsociability or the curse of intoxicating drinks and drugs. Women will enjoy the same rights as men. What is the Constitution of India? It is considered to be the supreme law of the country as it put forth the framework of fundamental political principles. It establishes the structure, procedures, powers, and duties of the government and mentions the fundamental rights, directive principles, and duties of citizens. The Constitution declares India as a sovereign, socialist, democratic, and republic with a parliamentary form of government. The Indian Constitution shows federal as well as unitary system. Federal system powers are divided and are shared between state and central governments. Union government, it concentrates in central government with weak state government. What is the Constitution of India? So it tells on the structure of Constitution of India is in its current form, March 2011, consists of one preamble, 25 parts containing 450 articles, 12 schedules, 2 appendices, and 97 amendments to date. Although it is federal in nature, it has a strong unitary government. Different elements of constitution are described as follows. The preamble of the Constitution of India is a brief introductory statement that sets out the guiding purpose and principles of the document. The individual articles of the Constitution are grouped together into the following parts. Part 1, it has union and its territory. Up to we have 25 parts, the articles from 1 to 450 and 97 amendments, 12 schedules that categorize and tabulate bureaucratic activity and policy of the government, and 2 appendices that extension to the constitution and fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are different from other rights available to us. While ordinary legal rights are protected and enforced by ordinary law, fundamental rights are protected and guaranteed by Constitution of India. The Constitution of India recognizes certain basic principles rights for each citizen of India, such as right to equality, right to freedom, a right to freedom of religion, right against exploitation, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. Ordinary rights may be changed by the legislature by ordinary purposes of lawmaking, but a fundamental right may only be changed by amending the Constitution itself. Besides this, no organ of the Constitution can act in the manner that violates them, and any infringement of fundamental rights can be challenged by any citizen of India in court of law. The Constitution of India also prescribes some fundamental duties on every citizen in India. Fundamental duties. These fundamental rights have been provided at the cost of some fundamental duties. These are considered as the duties that must be and should be performed by every citizen of India. These fundamental duties are defined as it shall be the duty of every citizen of India. The fundamental duties are to abide by the Constitution, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspire our national struggle for freedom, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and the spirit of a common brotherhood, to value and preserve the rich heritage of a composite culture, to protect and improve the national environment, to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to abjure violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nations constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. Directive principles, it provides the social and economic base of a genuine democracy. The classification of these are as follows: socio-economic principles, liberal principles, Gandhian principles, and international principles. In socio-economic principles, we have Article 36 of the Constitution of India shall endeavour to formulate such social system which will secure social, economic, and political justice to all in all spheres of life. The Article 39 of the states shall try to formulate its policy such a manner so as to secure adequate means of livelihood. And 39, the ownership of material resources would be controlled in such a manner so as to subserve the common good. 39C, the economy of the state will be administered in such a manner so that wealth may not yet be concentrated in a few hands and the means of production may not be used against the public interest. We have Gandhian principles and international principles, and Constitution of India and government consisted of parliament, judiciary, and executive. These and some basic principles that we follow in the constitution has been given, and then the basic structure of constitutional um, have been discussed. Let us discuss on the main characteristics of Constitution of India. It is longest written constitution. It is partly rigid and partly flexible. It is a democratic republic, parliamentary system of government, a federation. It has its fundamental rights, the directive principles of state policy, which is the main characteristics of a constitution, and the fundamental duties and secular state. And then we have the conclusion. We have this in the museum. Thus, it is a responsibility lies on only the jurists and policy framers, but also the citizens of the country to work in harmonious manner for the development of the country. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all. Let's meet in another video.